There is a quiet grace in things that are unfinished, a tenderness in what has not yet reached completion. In the cracks, in the pauses, in the in-between, life reveals a softer kind of perfection, the kind that doesn't ask to be polished or concluded, but only witnessed. We live in a world obsessed with endings. We glorify the finished masterpiece, the complete circle, the neatly tied story. But the truth is, most of life is lived mid-sentence. We are all works in progress, half-formed, half-certain, endlessly becoming. And maybe, just maybe, that's where the real beauty hides, not in what is done, but in what is still unfolding. The seed never apologizes for not being a tree. The dawn doesn't rush to become noon. The river never demands to arrive. It only moves, moment by moment, carving its way through time. What if we learned to honor ourselves like that? To meet the parts of us that are still forming, still uncertain, with reverence instead of resistance. To look at our lives, not as a checklist of achievements, but as a canvas constantly being touched by light and shadow, neither finished nor broken, just alive. We are always told to perfect ourselves, to fix, improve, achieve, and complete. But perfection is static. It is stillness without breath. Completion ends the story. And perhaps the divine never intended us to be complete. Perhaps the purpose was always to keep unfolding, to learn, to fall, to rise again. Because what is the soul if not an eternal student? Each experience, each joy and each heartbreak is just another brushstroke. A single movement in an infinite painting that can never be done. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not incomplete because you're still becoming. You are unfinished and therefore infinite. We forget that the caterpillar dissolves before it becomes a butterfly, that decay feeds growth, that endings are simply beginnings, dressed in unfamiliar clothing. The divine rhythm moves not in straight lines, but in spirals, turning us through lessons we thought we had learned, only to show us new depths within the same truth. And so, the unfinished parts of you, the doubts, the waiting, the ache, they are not flaws. They are proof that you are alive inside the process of becoming. The universe paints with patience. Nothing real is ever rushed. Look at the mountains, they were not formed in a day. Look at the stars, they burn for billions of years before their light even reaches us. Look at the heart. It breaks and mends again, each time learning a softer kind of strength. There is beauty in the becoming. There is holiness in the pause. There is purpose in the unfinished. We often mistake progress for perfection. We think if we are still struggling, we have failed. But struggle is movement. Struggle is life whispering. You are still shaping something real. Even the divine didn't rush creation. 7 days, 7 layers, 7 stages of light and rest. If the source of all things moves in rhythm, who are we to demand instant clarity? Maybe that's what faith really is. The trust that even when the picture isn't clear, the hand painting it knows what it's doing. The soul's timing is not the same as the world's timing. You cannot measure becoming with a calendar. You cannot rush transformation with ambition. Some chapters are written slowly so the lesson can settle into the bones. Some doors stay closed because your spirit isn't ready to walk through yet. And that's okay. It's okay to be here, half-formed, half-certain, breathing into the mystery. It's okay to not know how the story ends. It's okay to be both masterpiece and work in progress at the same time. You are. And that is enough. There are moments when we ache for arrival. We want to be done with the lesson, healed from the wound, clear about the path ahead. We say to ourselves, when I finally get there, then I'll be at peace. But peace doesn't wait at the end of the journey. It walks beside us, disguised as patience, whispering, be here. We are always reaching for the next horizon. But every horizon only exists because we stand where we are now. The horizon moves with us. It is not a destination but an invitation to keep moving. So what if being unfinished isn't a flaw to fix, but the purest form of grace, the soul's way of keeping us close to life, humble before mystery, open to wonder. You see, a finished thing is complete. It no longer hungers, no longer grows. But to be unfinished is to stay teachable. It means the heart is still learning how to love. The spirit is still learning how to trust. The mind is still learning how to surrender. And isn't that what makes being human sacred? That we are allowed to keep learning how to live. The flowers don't bloom all at once. Some open early, some later, and some never at all. Yet the garden is beautiful because of their difference. We are that garden. Each of us unfolding at our own rhythm. Each of us learning to bloom in our own season. There is a divine intelligence behind the delay. Every unanswered prayer, every waiting season, every slow unfolding. It all serves something larger than our understanding. Because timing is mercy. If some doors had opened when we demanded, they would have crushed us instead of carrying us. If some dreams had arrived before we were ready, they would have dissolved in our unsteady hands. So the pauses, the uncertainties, the incompletions, they are not punishments. They are preparations. The soul never forgets what it came here to do. Even when the mind doubts, the spirit remembers. Every experience, even the painful ones, becomes a brushstroke in the mural of who we are becoming. And one day, when you look back, you will see that what felt like waiting was actually weaving. The universe stitching your scattered moments into a pattern only visible in hindsight. We don't grow in straight lines. We spiral. We return to old places with new eyes. We find new meaning in old wounds. We realize that healing is not the absence of pain, but the transformation of it. Your scars are not signs of what's broken. They are proof of what has mended. The soul wears them like constellations, each one a reminder of where light entered after the fall. And when you see your life through that lens, that everything is connected, that every delay, every mistake, every loss has its place, then you begin to understand the quiet power of the unfinished. Because being unfinished means you still have space. Space for growth, for love, for surprise. Space for the divine to move through you, to shape what you cannot yet imagine. The universe is always mid-creation. Even stars are born from collapse. Even galaxies are expanding still. And you are part of that same cosmic rhythm. A living proof that divinity is not static but unfolding. You are not here to be perfect. You are here to be real. To touch the world with your becoming. To be the evidence that imperfection is holy. So rest in the unfinished. Let it breathe. Let it teach you how to stay open, how to listen, how to trust. Because someday you'll understand that the waiting was never wasted. It was the most important part of your becoming. There comes a point when you begin to notice how life repeats itself. How certain lessons circle back until you finally see them differently. Not because life is cruel, but because life is patient. It keeps knocking until you open the door of understanding. The truth is, we don't evolve by escaping our patterns. We evolve by loving the parts of ourselves trapped within them. The child who was once afraid, the dreamer who once failed, the heart that once broke. They're not gone. They're waiting for you to come back and hold them, to tell them that it's okay, that the story isn't over. Being unfinished means there is still tenderness left to uncover. It means you haven't outgrown your capacity to feel. And in a world that glorifies completion, your softness is a quiet rebellion. We are taught to chase closure, as if every feeling must be resolved, as if every chapter must have a clean ending. But the heart is not a novel. It's a river. It flows, bends, deepens, disappears, and returns. Some stories are meant to be carried, not concluded. The ache that lingers, that's your humanity reminding you that you've loved deeply. The confusion that stays, that's your soul asking for patience. The uncertainty that haunts, that's life keeping you awake to wonder. There's beauty in the things that don't end neatly. The half-finished poem, the friendship that faded without reason, the apology that never came. They all shape you in ways you can't yet articulate. They leave space for meaning to mature. Because not every gift arrives wrapped in understanding. Sometimes the universe speaks in fragments, And you have to listen with the heart instead of the mind. You have to trust that what's left unsaid is still sacred. You see, the divine rarely shouts. It whispers in delay, in silence, in imperfection. And if you can learn to be still long enough, you'll start to feel its pulse in the spaces between your thoughts. The soul knows that life's true art lies in incompletion, because only what is unfinished can keep expanding. Only what is uncertain can awaken faith, and only what is broken can let the light in. We think the goal is to finish, to achieve, to arrive, to know. But maybe the real purpose is to become, to live as a question instead of an answer, to allow mystery to be your teacher. The tree doesn't rush its growth. The moon doesn't hurry to become full. The ocean doesn't apologize for its tides. And yet, we hold ourselves to a timeline that the soul never agreed to. There is no late in divine timing. There is only alignment, the meeting point between readiness and grace. And while the mind grows restless, the heart waits quietly. It knows that the sacred is not built in haste. It knows that miracles need time to mature. So much of life's beauty is hidden in its unfinished edges. In the way a sunset fades before you can name its color. In the way laughter trails off, leaving silence filled with warmth. In the way love continues long after goodbye. Completion is a kind of stillness, beautiful, yes, but the unfinished is alive. It breathes, it changes, it evolves. It mirrors the divine dance between creation and surrender. And when you realize this, you stop trying to fix everything that's incomplete. You begin to love the process more than the outcome. You start to see God not in perfection, but in progress. You begin to understand that the divine is not somewhere waiting for you at the end of the path. The divine is the path. It's the steps you take when you don't know the way. It's the breath you draw when you feel lost. It's the silence that stays with you when everything else leaves. We call it unfinished because we can't yet see the whole picture. But to the universe, it's already complete. Every fall, every delay, every fracture, they are all strokes of the same masterpiece. You are not behind. You are becoming. And the becoming is holy. So the next time you look at your life and feel the sting of incompleteness, remember this. The beauty isn't waiting for the finish line. It's here, in the gentle unfolding, in the spaces between what is and what will be. One day, when the noise has quieted and the rush has passed, you'll look back on your life and realize how much of it was shaped by pauses. The moments you thought were empty were actually sacred ground, spaces where your soul was rearranging itself quietly, preparing you for the next breath of becoming. You'll see that the unanswered prayers were not silence, but gentle redirection, that the endings you mourned were doors opening inward, that every delay carried its own kind of mercy, because what we call unfinished is often just unrevealed. It's the universe still painting, and every day you live, every choice you make, adds a stroke to the masterpiece that only eternity will see complete. The truth is, nothing about you has ever been incomplete. You are simply in motion, shifting, learning, releasing, returning. You are the river and the shore, the question and the answer, the seed and the blossom. You hold the beginning and the becoming all at once. The human heart was never meant to be a finished sculpture. It was meant to remain soft, pliable, always capable of breaking, always capable of healing, always capable of love. And maybe that is the most divine thing about us, that we can be unfinished and still give beauty to the world. Every time you show kindness, every time you forgive someone who never asked for it, every time you love again after being hurt, you are proving that unfinished things can still shine, that even in the middle of the process, grace can exist. You don't need to rush your story. You don't need to force meaning from every moment. The sacred will reveal itself in its own time. All you are asked to do is stay open, to keep your heart tender, to let the divine write through you instead of around you. Because you are not the author of control. You are the witness of creation, and creation is never finished. When you watch the sea, you don't ask it to stop moving so you can admire it. You love it because it moves. You love it because it's endless. That's how you should love your own becoming, as something infinite, something always expanding toward light. There will be days when you feel like you're falling apart. But falling apart is often the soul's way of rearranging itself for truth. It's how you make room for new light. It's how the divine breathes through you. Do not fear the undone, for the undone is where miracles begin. When everything seems uncertain, that's when creation whispers, "Now watch what I can do." Every dawn begins in darkness. Every birth begins with surrender. Every transformation begins with letting go of what you thought was final. You are the artist and the artwork, the sculptor and the stone, the melody and the silence between notes. And even if you never feel complete, that doesn't mean you've failed. It means you've stayed alive to wonder. Maybe heaven isn't a place we go, but a way of seeing. Maybe it's here in this breath, in this pause, in this unfinished moment that glows quietly with divine intention. Perfection is a closed circle, but love is open-ended. It expands endlessly, just like the universe that holds you. And you, beloved soul, you are part of that expansion. You are the divine in progress, a fragment of infinity remembering itself through time. So breathe deeply. Forgive yourself for not being there yet. Bless the version of you that's still learning how to trust. And instead of asking, "When will I be complete?" ask gently, "How can I be present?" Because the beauty of unfinished things is that they remind us we are still becoming. And to become is the holiest act of all. There is no final version of you. There is only a deeper one. And with every moment of surrender, with every act of quiet courage, with every soft step toward truth, you are writing eternity through your existence. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are precisely where the divine needs you to be, midway through a masterpiece, unfinished and perfect in your becoming.